Now, there's an all-out attack on our freedoms currently being waged by Keir Starmer and this new Labour government, and the riots we've seen over recent weeks are the vehicle for their agenda. Brits are now being rounded up and arrested for things they've posted on social media in a chilling precedent that George Orwell would be proud of. Bernie Spofforth, the 55-year-old woman accused of being the first to post the fake name of the Southport attacker online, well, she received a knock at the door by cops this week and is still being detained tonight. She denies claims that she incited the riots, saying she simply shared previously posted material. And if you attended the riots but simply watched on from the sidelines, well, you're not safe either. A judge this week said anyone who attended the violence, whether they were involved or not, would be refused bail in the courts. So what's clear now is the useful idiots who rioted across Britain, well, they've played right into the hands of this government's chilling agenda, which, by my estimation, is to silence concerns of mass uncontrolled migration by stamping out free speech. Starmer is now targeting people for their online chatterings and sending the police to arrest them. Just listen to the Director of Public Prosecutions, Stephen Parkinson.
And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth.
Normal, hard-working Brits are being gaslit into believing they're an outlier, a racist, if they're not on board with unidentified fighting-age males rocking up at our southern border week after week. And we're also being made to feel like worries and concerns about the levels of legal migration to Britain and the societal and cultural changes that brings means you're a far-right thug. This whole charade reminds me of COVID so much that the government is now even relaunching a secretive pandemic-era spy agency to monitor social media for those who comment on the riots. And as we saw with the lockstep front pages of our printed press earlier this week, you're being nudged into believing that your fears for the safety of this country are just unfounded hysteria. So thank God for Elon Musk and X, formerly Twitter, the social media platform he spent £40 billion on to save free speech. He might be the richest man in the world, but let's be clear, first of all, Elon Musk is no messiah. He himself was guilty of reposting a fake Telegraph article this week that Sir Keir Starmer was considering detainment camps for rioters. But for all his faults, we wouldn't have even known there were other ethnic groups involved in riots across Britain if it wasn't for Musk and X. Musk has goaded Starmer online, calling him a hypocrite over his alleged two-tier approach to the riots, while also suggesting the PM is overseeing a Soviet-style administration. In response, the highest police officer in the land seemed to bizarrely hint that Mr Musk could be extradited to Britain to explain himself.
From further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
They want Elon Musk gone, X turned off, and freedom of speech stamped out. Starmer himself has said he's going to look at social media laws in the wake of the riots and even revisit the Online Safety Act. And right on cue, of course, the Westminster elite are now circling. Guardian columnists got their knickers in a twist, saying Musk should be on trial in the UK for inciting the riots. And Keir Starmer's champagne socialist biographer, Tom Baldwin, called for regulation of social media platforms, even saying free speech was not absolute.
There's a sort of silly argument sometimes about free speech, and Musk is sort of trying to pretend sort of freedom of speech is some absolute right. It's never been an absolute right. And we have regulation. The BBC is regulated. I think the BBC is better for being regulated.
Yeah, OK, so Baldwin's suggestion that the BBC is the holy grail of journalism, that's also laughable. Who remembers the Beeb incorrectly saying Israel bombed a Gaza hospital last year, killing 500 people?
The Israeli military has been contacted for comment, and they have said that they are investigating. But, it is hard to see what else this could be, really, given the size of the explosion, other than an Israeli airstrike or several airstrikes. Because, when we've seen rockets being fired out of Gaza, we never see explosions of that scale.
The truth about that lie was only unearthed thanks to X. It wasn't Israel who bombed the hospital. It was a misfired Palestinian missile. The BBC's international editor, Jeremy Bowen, explained himself.
I think I was measured throughout. I didn't race to judgment.
But you said that building had been flattened.
Oh yeah, well I got that wrong because I was looking at the pictures and what I could see was a square that appeared to be flaming on all sides.
OK, so he got it wrong. Fine. So does that mean now we're going to bang up the likes of Jeremy Bowen or BBC executives for getting it wrong and inciting further bloodshed in the Middle East? And is the chief executive of far-left campaign group Hope Not Hate, Nick Lowles, going to get a knock at the door by Starmer's stormtroopers for incorrectly saying a Muslim had acid thrown over them during the riots? Because that too would have flamed intentions. Make no mistake, the minority racist idiots who caused the worst of these riots have opened the floodgates for a power grab of our civil liberties under this Labour government. And it's a crying shame that it's a US-based South African who's the only one with the balls to stick up for British citizens and not our so-called free press. But let's get the thoughts now of tonight's panel. Journalist and political commentator Benedict Spence, anarchist and academic Dr. Lisa Mackenzie, and the journalist and model Diana Moran. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Those graphics not bad, are they?
Welcome.
First time, the debut, Ben Leo tonight. Lisa, let's start with you, if you don't mind.
No.
Is this a power grab by Labour and Starmer at our civil, on our civil liberties? Is this Starmer's surveillance state wet dream?
Yes. I can't say anything else, really. I mean, yeah, I am an anarchist. I think that power should be decentralised. And what he is doing now is absolutely centralising it within sort of 1 mile of Westminster. I would say that Starmer's point here is more sort of Stasi than Starmer. He's encouraging people to tell on their neighbours. He's threatening people with prison, even, you know, if they're there or not there or whatever they might have said. And none of it is clear, because I don't know what is arrestable and what isn't. Now that seems to be very wrong.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Do you know why that is? Because they want to create such an atmosphere of hesitation and fear that you just won't bother saying anything. Yeah. You just keep your mouth shut, as they do in China. No one criticises the government. No one wants to get their social credit score so low that they can't travel. It's all part of the plan. Diana, is Starmer a commie? Is he a communist in disguise?
Is he a what?
A commie, a communist.
Possibly. He's certainly not my most favourite man, and I'm very fearful with everything that's going on just at the moment. I'm nervous to say what I really feel about anything, because who's listening and what could happen. It's a very frightening state of affairs just at the moment.
Benedict, what do you make of Elon Musk? Because at the moment he seems to be the only person sticking up for free speech, not just in Britain, but all over the world, and he really is taking Keir Starmer head on, isn't he?
I'm very cynical about this with Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is really good at saying exactly the right thing to really wind up a certain kind of centrist British commentator who then can't help but comment themselves on X, which drives more engagement on X, which leads more people to criticise those people on X and creates more content for his social media platform. Ultimately, I think that this is what it's about. It's about traffic engagement. And of course, he then gets to say on the side, and I'm also a champion of free speech, but he knows full well, actually, his influence is negligible in the UK in terms of lobbying and on politics, and it's unlikely to, for example, be mirrored in Conservative Party politics at the moment. And even if it were, it wouldn't be very useful. The Conservative Party is in a bit of a hole at the moment. But it does sort of feed into that sort of sense of animosity, that sense of fear that's going around. And that's good for him because it's good for his social media platform. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, because I would say right now, one of the things you're talking about, us potentially descending into a police state as a sort of a surveillance state, actually social media changes and moves at such a pace that modern Western states can't in fact keep up with it. It's a very different atmosphere to, for example, East Germany was in the 70s, for instance. Actually, I don't think the British government has the capacity to keep pace with social media platforms like X or things like Telegram.
No, I agree actually with that. I also think, I don't know why has Starmer and the government reacted to Elon Musk. So he said Elon Musk is posting all sorts of mad things actually on X. I've seen them; they're quite mad.
Funny.
And they are funny, yeah.
Which bits are mad?
I mean,
can you cite any?
Well, when he
the year is 2030 and you're about to be executed for posting a meme in the UK.
He's posting some amazing memes.
But,
I mean, I should have showed them tonight.
But the fact is Keir Starmer is reacting to that. That's not... Why is our Prime Minister sort of getting our country into a spat with sort of social media mogue? It seems mad to me.
Diana, do you think Sir Keir Starmer... I've been watching his press conferences. He looks sort of wide-eyed, a bit tired, a bit haggard. Maybe he does need that holiday. He said tonight.
I think he probably does.
Do you think he's a bit rattled with not just Elon Musk? I mean, he's piling the pressure on, but with the whole riot situation, he is feeling the...
I think he must be feeling very rattled. As you say, he was going to go on holiday and this has come instead. And by golly, hasn't it come with force? It is really, really frightening. And as an older person who doesn't do Twitter...
Yes, you're not on social media, are you?
No, I don't.
So how have you analysed what's been going on with that?
Listening to GBNews mostly.
Oh, good on you.
No, and I'm serious when I say that.
Yeah.
But I do find it frightening that the world, or we in this country, are reacting to Twitter and X like that.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, the one woman who put that particular comment on, the woman from Cheshire in her farmhouse...
Be slightly careful what we say.
All right, but just think what one thing has kicked off. I find that really frightening.
Yeah, OK. Scary, very scary. And if we've got 5 more years of this, I dread to think, well, A, where we're going to be, and B, what Sir Keir Starmer's going to be looking like in 5 years.
I don't think he's got 5 years.
Do you think he'll go?
I don't think he's got 5 years. Most of the British public hate him now.
Do you think?
Yes.
I don't know. He's still got that Labour base. I mean,
but it's actually not a majority. It's not a majority base.
I think what you're going to see is 2 things. The next thing is going to be the next round of tensions in the Middle East. We'll see a resumption of anti-Israel protests, and seeing how he deals with that, having dealt with far-right protesters so heavily, will be a key test of his. And then I think also we'll see just how much of an authoritarian he is with his own party when the rebellions start. Then we'll find out how much time he's got.
OK.